This is Guardians of Divinity. And as you can see here, it's a browser-based MMORPG, and it told me to put on some headphones, which I don't really understand why, because like this audio this music in the background sounds like it was recorded with a tin can underwater. It's really something else. So we come in here. It's actually pretty cool looking, I gotta admit. I like how the enemies are just kind of like battling and kind of inhibiting this world, you know? So autopath, maybe fight a guy. So this is pretty much what, you know, is going to be going on for pretty much the entire game, unfortunately. But here we go. We're going to get to this cutscene, and it is truly a work of art. God, finally! I've waited so long for this moment. Get out of Pandora's body at once, you devil! Slash. And I love that little jumping animation. That was pretty neat looking. They disguise the fact that they only have like 2 frames per animation cycle. Oh shit, dude. There's Odin. Slash dead. This is not fair, Odin. You can't do this to me. It's so dumb. But I really like the assets that we've got going here. Like this demon armor looking dude. That's pretty cool looking, I gotta admit. And of course you can skip all this garbage writing that they throw in here. So, you know, this game is not bad. I mean, and I could be snarky and just call it an experience, but okay, it's a game. In the same way that I consider something like Phoenix Wright a game, even though there's not a whole lot of gameplay. But anyway, so we're going through here. It's also pretty neat that these characters kind of inhabit this world naturally. I mentioned before, but I like how they're not just standing there, you know? They're actually fighting and walking. And it's like they're actually a part of the world. So you get a mount, of course, almost immediately. There's a neat little kill streak there at the top left, which I thought was kind of funny, because it doesn't matter at all, but it's just a little flashy thing that they throw in there. So at the very least, like, my screen is not completely cluttered with all this, like, daily rewards and shops and garbage. At the very least, it's relatively minimal and up in the right corner, which is good. There's still, you know, the auto pathing thing where there's like nothing for you to do unless you cancel auto path, which I mean I don't want to do. Someone who explained to me that, you know, gave me a little bit more insight on why these games are popular on a previous video, and he said basically, you know, not everyone's a hardcore gamer. Maybe we just kind of want to chill out and you know, go through this experience, which just makes a lot more sense. This is more akin to a movie that you are kind of a bit more a part of, I guess, which makes sense. But still, I mean, I would never commit any time to these kind of games. But at the very least, it's understandable that there is an audience for it. There is a market, and that's why you know, they're popular. So this is pretty cool. You just kind of like go in here, you wreck stuff, and then you just go right past. So this is really cool. This is a cool sequence right here. So this is like some kind of like god or something. This is Ares. The fight is incredibly easy, but I mean, of course it's easy. I can't be beat. I'm unbeatable. What was that animation? Okay. Look at these dudes coming in. Do you really think you can stop Murray? I was looking for a chance to try the new power. So that's pretty neat. You turn into like Ares or whatever. And kill people. So, kind of like Mega Man, every time we defeat a boss, you get their power. It's kind of neat. God, all the dialogue is so damn cheesy and just awful. Like they're not being their characters, you know. Like I can understand the main character being cheesy. That's so like that's just something that happens. But to have like Athena, you know, like this goddess of wisdom and strategy or whatever, to be like, thank you for saving my castle from annihilation. Let me be a fucking guide for you. So you're going through all these different areas. Of course, there's not a whole lot to really say. You go from quest to quest. You auto path, auto combat. Once again, if this is like the base level for like a really cool game, you know. I just hate to see it kind of just going down the path of auto path. Like I'd play this if it didn't have the auto path. I don't know. I mean, what I'm saying is like this is probably one of the best, probably the best browser-based game I've ever first looked. And of course, you have all this upgrading, grind treadmill kind of thing. I'm sure. Well, I was gonna say I'm sure it changes your appearance, but I'm actually not certain of that. Oh, and by this point, the music is actually pretty good. I gotta admit. In the first scene, it was like all garbled and like crappy, like someone compressed it 10 too many times. But when you get to this section, it actually kind of like sounds like an actually good soundtrack that I can listen to. Maybe not. I mean, I'm not gonna go download this or anything, but while playing this game, I did rather enjoy the soundtrack. So that's something to make note of. And as far as I know, all the sound effects work. So this is also probably the most complete a browser-based game I've ever played. Has been. Like if they barring my disdain for auto pathing and auto combat, if this game actually had like better frame rate for their animation cycles, like the auto attacking animation, this would actually be like really really good. Like I was contemplating giving this game at a base level of 9, and if it had the good animations on the characters, I was really seriously going to give this a 10. And this is of course relative to you know, like this market, this browser-based market, or this, you know, this I don't know if I want to call it indie because I'm not sure if it's indie, but this kind of like small team making a huge game kind of game. This unknown developer, right? Or at least I think it's unknown. I have no idea. I know there's definitely like mega corporations or whatever that have like dozens and dozens of these kind of games under their belt, but developer-wise, I think there's lots and lots of small teams. So this is another instance of like the environment is actually pretty cool and interesting. Like you have these guards, right? What do guards do? They guard stuff. So they're standing there. They're gonna be guarding. They're not gonna be moving or whatever. And then you come in here and like all these dudes are just kind of sitting around, and then they stand up to fight you. You know, it's just small things like that that really give the world a bit more life, a bit more substance. You know, it's not just like a computer program. Like, what's the word for it? Randomly generated, you know, a boring world. This actually looks like they put a good amount of time into making this seem interesting. I have no idea what these Blitzcrank looking dudes are, but I think it's just pretty neat that they kind of sit down usually and then stand out to fight you. Just, you know, like I said, little things like that can really help make the world a lot more engaging, even if I'm not actually playing. So this kind of goes back to this little section right here. Goes back to what other browser-based MMORPGs do. They just have a whole bunch of enemies just kind of in a small area, just walking around. I imagine they do this so that if you have a bunch of players come through, they're not all going to be without, you know, some enemies or whatever. So I really like the background here. This is like we were like in this forest, and then we went up some steps, right? And now we're up here, and we're looking out in this outer space. That's really cool. So you have a cheesy as hell dialogue. When will I get back to Arcadia? Kind of thing. He's such a whiny brat. Like, so like this little this set piece right here is really cool. I got it. It's like, even though there's limited movement, I can tell that they put a lot of effort. both into this game and into the set piece. Granted, it doesn't do a whole lot, and it's very anticlimactic, but it's a really cool set piece. And you got the background there where you're looking out into outer space, which is really cool too. Then we go back to a more neutral area, I believe. I totally forget what happened here. Yeah, so this is, I think this is like the hub zone, the city, where all the characters kind of come and go. So yeah, but I think I just kind of want to give this game an 8. I mean, I was contemplating giving it a 9 at a base level, but I don't know. It's just the animation thing irks me so much. And the auto-pathing, of course, is so unengaging. But I think an 8 is a good place for this. And of course, this is relative to the rest of this market. It's not. I'm not like a lot of people think like, oh, I gave this an 8, and I gave like I don't know, The Witcher 3 an 8. Are you saying this game is better than The Witcher kind of thing? It's not like that. It's just relative. It's all relative. It's relative. The score doesn't really matter anyway. Basically, I thought this game did. It hit its beats pretty well. Even though it's an auto-pathing game, which I disdain, like I said, but it does what it does well.